Hey YouTube, this is David back again with another quick review, this time of Need for Speed, directed by Scott Waugh. Writers are George Gatins, screenplay, story by George Gatins, and starring Aaron Paul as Toby Marshall, Dominic Cooper as Dino Brewster, Imogen Poots as Julie Madden, Scott Mescudi as Benny, Rami Malek as Finn, Raymond Rodriguez as Joe Peck, Harrison Gilbertson as Little Pete, Michael Keaton as Monarch. What a neat little character that was. I really enjoyed this film. Again, I'm going to try and keep this review as short as I was able to keep Divergent, maybe 20 minutes at most. I enjoyed the film. Granted, it is about a lawless group of people with their illegal street racing, but that is the kind of film that you go into watching these kind of movies, whether it's Fast and Furious, which I've only ever seen the first one of that movie, and I really couldn't say anything about the way that franchise has gone since then, since I only saw the original with Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. I guess I kind of prefer if there's going to be a racing movie like that, because that seems I'm afraid from things I've seen online that's kind of degenerated into just a heist movie on wheels kind of a thing. Need for Speed is about racing. Again, I don't know anything about Need for Speed except this movie I've got on the GameCube, the Need for Speed video game. It's just about racing, and the cops are after you. But it's neat that they show more of the story, and in this film they depict this character played by Aaron Paul, Toby. I'll just call him Toby throughout this this review, as being someone with kind of within this illegal little world of street racing and stuff, someone who likes to play by their rules, the little code of honor that they have. They mention this a lot. If something happens in a race, someone crashes, they always go back. I think that's the way he says it. When part of this movie and what takes them in the race across country to get to the De Leon, I think it's called, this race put together by Michael Keaton's character, Airwaves. It's such a neat little story. Is that he was racing Dino,
this guy who, I don't know if he took his girl from him, or if they broke up and then she went with Dino or what. But Dino is within this already not always good world, kind of a sleaze, a scumbag, a traitor, somebody with no honor. Whereas Toby, he's someone he's trying to. He loves cars. He loves racing. Emotion. How did Michael Keaton's character say it? I see motor oil and love and passion and blood all just whirling around in a pool going through that engine. That's Toby's character. Movie opens up. They're going to have a little race through some downtown place. His crew of 5 or 6 guys are the ones responsible for messing with traffic lights and making sure the race, trying to make sure regular people, I guess like me, don't get smacked by cars during their racing, manipulating the traffic lights and stuff. And yeah, they're kind of the support team. Scott Mescudi's character, Benny, he's a pilot. He can fly basically anything, I guess. You see him flying a little Cessna plane, a helicopter, I think another kind of helicopter, and so that's their job. And you see that throughout this whole little this initial race that they have at the beginning of the movie. And in the end, Toby wins that race. And then it's like, what's next? They're back at their shop, just messing around. They're fixing up cars. They're trash talking each other and everything else. And along comes Dino,
again, who would watch that race and kind of mess with some of his guys, like, can I watch, or that kind of thing. He offers them the chance to work on a car. And again, you're left to wonder, what do they mean by that? This is the car they were working on when Carol died. I don't even know if Carol is a person or what this Carol reference is, but some Ford model car, brand new thing with some really souped up engine, and so they're going to be the ones to get to finish it, and it's going to be worth like $1 million or $3 million or something like that. And so they do it. They fix it up for Dino, even though they don't want to take the job from him. Toby tells his team, look, we're going to lose the shop. He's behind in his payments and stuff. The mortgage people have been coming by from the bank or something, and so he's got to take this job. And so they fix up the car, and then they're showcasing it, and this is where you get Imogen Poots' character. I've never seen her in anything before. This is the first movie I've seen her in, but she's in this as Julia, and I liked her character, Julia, a lot. I'm trying to find the name of the character. Here it is. Harrison Gilbertson. He unfortunately dies in a race with Toby and Dino. Very, very well done scene, even if it's something you think you've seen it so many times before, if you've ever seen a movie like this, but still really well done. Dino, of course, has got his fingers in all the pies in the world. He's got these €3 spec cars or something, ultra fast. Looks like I've only ever had a little Micro Machine toy years ago that looked like these cars look, and it's just it's all underground type stuff. He has all this stuff. He's into the big money, and Pete kind of shoots his mouth off, saying, well, everybody knows that Toby's a better driver than you are, because Toby had been out trying to make sure that the new car they just fixed up could go at least so fast to prove to Julia that, yes, this is worth the big money that we want, not the lesser money that her client, her boss, wants to pay for it. And so he proves that. Dino comes out, what are you doing? That's my car. You're not allowed to drive this car. What if you wreck it or something? And it's like Pete ended up saying, like, everybody knows he's a better driver than you are, Dino. And Dino wants to fight him. And then Toby breaks it up. And then Dino's like, you know what? No. Thinking he's going to do something for his evil ego and also get out of having to pay them all the money that he's going to pay them, so that, and not that so that they can keep their shop, but so that Toby can get paid, and from there pay his guys money and be able to keep their shop and keep on doing what they do. He says, no, why don't you prove it right now? If I win, I get the money I'm paying you. If you win, you get, like, it's going to be like $1 million or something. I don't know. Anyway, he gets behind Pete. Pete gets in the race. Pete gets in between Dino and Toby, with Toby in the lead. Dino, spoilers, everybody, spoilers. I'll put spoilers in the title. He flips. These are, like, I guess, lightweight cars or something, so fast. And Dino hits him from behind, causes him to spin off and flip off the road, off the bridge, bursts into flames, and the car goes down. Really dramatic and really well done scene. Toby's like, no, in the rearview mirror. He goes back for his friend. Dino takes his opportunity to win and keep his money. He doesn't even stop for anybody. He just goes on to the end, and Toby goes back. Car's on fire down below this bridge where it had flipped off by the rocks and stuff, and he's just like, no, and it's on fire and everything. I thought it was a well done scene. Really had me going like, oh no, his friends died in complete disaster and everything. He does 2 years in jail, but the police never found Dino, and ever since then, when he goes back to work, of course, the mortgage banker, the place is all boarded up. It's been repossessed. He and his buddy Benny, played by Scott Mescudi, go in, and it's like there's nothing left in their shop but a little nothing. And then Julia comes, and how does it go? She offers them the chance to I forget how the race across. Oh yeah, to take that car that they fixed up to race in the race in the De Leon. And I'll talk about the De Leon at the end of the review. I guess maybe end on that. But he doesn't want her to come with him in the car, and this is how the love interest and them kind of falling for each other begins. She's going to ride with him. And he looks at Benny, and Benny looks at him like, some of our crazy driving, she'll want out at the first opportunity. No, she sticks with him, and through all this stuff, beginning with a stop in some city, where the character, is it Rami Malek? Yeah, plays the character Finn, and this was one character I thought I had seen other people in the film. But he was one guy I'm looking out on film, on the movie theater, thinking, I've seen this guy somewhere. I just couldn't realize where. And it's Night at the Museum. He is King, the ancient Egyptian king or whatever, in the Night at the Museum movie. And I had to get on IMDb to realize that, because I couldn't figure it out. Because I'm like, I've seen this guy somewhere. There's this scene in the movie where it's like he's not into racing, the street racing thing. He's trying to hold down a respectable job, even though he hates it. He quits when the guy is outside saying, "Hey man, we're doing something. We're doing the Raymond Rodriguez as the character Joe Peck is outside saying, "Hey man, just get your butt down here. We're doing the De Leon. We're doing it now. It's happening. What we always wanted to do. It's happening, man. Just come downstairs. I'll explain to." He's like, "No, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it." He goes to the window. Says, "Come to the window." He goes over by the window, and he sees that the car that they fixed up, this ultra, it's a Ford Mustang car, this really souped up car. Is like, they got it back. Toby's here. We're doing the De Leon. He's in his wrecker or whatever, the guy Joe is. I think that's good. Yeah, Joe Peck. And so, of course, Finn has to quit in the most over-the-top way. And I could have done without this part of the movie. I think they could have thought of something much more funny to do than what they did if they wanted to fluff out some of the runtime of the movie instead of just having nonstop racing and expensive car whatnot on the road with crashes and explosions and whatnot. He strips down naked, and he quits that way. He says, "Oh, Jackie," he goes up to some woman and he kisses her. He says, "I always wanted to do that." He's strutting around naked in his office building. Gets in an elevator with some woman. Says, "Hi, how are you?" Like, "What's your name?" or something. The woman says something or other from accounting or some office job. He says, "Do you ever feel like you're dying inside?" "Oh, every day," she says. But I could have done without him getting naked in the movie. I thought they could have thought of something, especially in some dramatic way to quit, some Homer Simpson. Maybe you can get your job back. Not the way I quit. Something funnier than just some nude joke, because he ends up running up to his buddy naked and wanting to hug him. He's like, "Man, get away from me. Just get in the car." Anyway, they're finally on the road again, and there's a lot of stuff that, unfortunately, the most memorable thing was them being picked up by the helicopter when Dino, because he's willing to do anything for money, including leave people to die and just straight up kill people apparently, has told people, don't let him reach the De Leon. And so it's the race for their lives now, as people with guns end up chasing them in the desert and stuff. Benny shows up again, this time because I guess he's an Air Force reservist or Army reservist, helicopter pilot or something. Somehow he got a hold of a huge military helicopter with a military pilot saying, "Sergeant so-and-so, you didn't say this is what we were doing." But he said, "Oh, sorry, man, it's just this thing I'm doing," or something, whatever. Roping up the car and picking him up off a cliff to help him get away from the psychotic Mad Max desert people who Dino's going to pay him money or something to
it's like worth $1 million to him or something for them not to make it to the race. There's a neat little love interest between Julia and Toby. A little bit of a romance, not like full bloom romance, if that's even a expression, full bloom romance, but just something that, you know, they like each other, and you're thinking, oh, this is so horrible, because there's a confrontation in a hotel between Toby and Dino, and Toby was ready to take him apart right there in front of all these people, but he's like, you know what, we'll settle this up behind the wheel. And right after that, he's all distraught about, like, it's a flood of memories constantly, with different things narrating it. Like, there's no evidence against Dino from that race, no evidence that he was there, and so that's why he never went to prison for that illegal street race. And Monarch, Michael Keaton, ends up narrating that part of it, so this is what it's about. Oh, this is more than racing, people. This is more than racing. This is serious business, and it's kind of a neat little thing as they finally get to the West Coast, this place in California, where the secret location that's only revealed once they're in place at the hotel or whatever, which they were. Right after that, Julia's talking to him like, you need to get a shower, you need to relax, you need to calm down, collect yourself. They have a little moment together, like smiling. Like, you really understand in this scene that I'm talking about in the movie that, you know, they care about each other. Pull out into traffic, bam! Some huge vehicle smashes him, overturns him, and you're thinking, oh no, what's happened? Has he just lost another friend in this lifestyle of street racing? No, she's just all banged up. She's like, get to the race. You're thinking, oh no, he's leaving her in the car upside down, and then she's just kind of dangling there in the seat belt. But no, there's a pause in the movie. He's gotten out. He's getting her to the hospital. Time out. He does that kind of a thing. He helps people is the thing. And that's what separates his character from the other in this already illegal situation from Dino, for instance, who Tony Stark Sr., he was Captain America, Tony Stark's dad. That's who Dino is. The actor who plays Dino. He gets to the hospital. He ends up getting his old girlfriend, Dino's girlfriend, on the phone. She realizes that she's picked a bad guy to spend her life with or whatever, and basically betrays him. Like, I think she has like a wedding ring in her hand, like she's taking it off, like she's not going to help him do the things that he's doing. And so Toby ends up saying, I need a car. And she gets him the same car that Dino was driving when they were racing and Pete died. And so he gets to the race. They do the race. Dino can't believe his eyes that he's made it. He realizes he's in trouble. It's a neat little confrontation. You understand all that's at stake, the history behind it at that point, what the race means to Toby, what racing in general means, the fact that he does need to beat this guy and the 4 or 5 other people. And apparently in the De Leon, they say like so many $1 million. It's like everybody gets the car. Whoever wins gets all the cars. But by the end of this race, all the other people have crashed, and so it's like you're not getting any money. And it's all about this glory thing, which in the movie, it's interesting. It takes you out of reality for a couple hours, and you get into this little world of this neat little story. But in the end, they end up, policemen are in danger. They're trying to stop these illegal street racers. And so you're like, man, I hope a cop didn't die and stuff like that, with all these crashing and flipping of cars and everything and running things over. In the end of the race, Dino has flipped over, and Toby goes back to see about him. That's something he had told Julia. You always go back in our world, what we do. You always go back. He just left him there. He just left Pete there when Pete died in the crash. He goes back. He pulls Dino out of the burning car, gets him over to a light pole, a fire hydrant or something, and for good measure, he pops him one good time. He says, that's for Pete. Gets back in his car, gets to this thing, and it's this neat little thing. Pete is apparently able to see premonitions or something of stuff, and it's like, you know, this is the car that I saw you in, man. when they first having that race, when Dino challenged him because he wants to keep the money and not pay him earlier in the movie before Pete died. In the race, Pete's telling him, this is the car you're in, man, in my dream, with the lighthouse, and you win the De Leon. This is the car. It's going to happen, man. This is it. And, of course, in that part of the movie, it's this tragic thing. But at the end of the movie, it's like it makes sense that he's in the car, and he wins the De Leon. He's flying toward the sea. He sees the lighthouse. The music's starting, and Michael Keaton comes in as the monarch again. He's like the announcer of the whole race, saying, "Oh, so-and-so racer is down. So-and-so racer is always flipped over. Police responding." He ends up saying something. It's like, "I think we should race, and I think cops should eat donuts," or something like that. "Cops, get the cops out of here," whatever. However, he said. And so it says, "Whew, looks like Toby Marshall's going to be doing time for illegal street racing," because they arrest Toby at the end of the race, and the police are carrying him away. But it's like you're in this movie, you're watching the story. This music is actually making sense. There's this emotional gratification. This as he's got this little grin on his face as he realizes a tear in his eye fell as he was being arrested. He's on his stomach and stuff. He's looking up at the lighthouse that Pete saw in his dream, and he realized that he had won. He had made it, and he had won at the De Leon. So then it cuts to 170-something days later. He's being released from jail again. Julia's in the car. She's there. She was all right from the crash and everything, and had even been in a hospital bed, like cheering him. And she asked the nurse, "Do you have a laptop?" She was able to plug in and listen to the race. And so then it's like Benny had to do some Leavenworth or something for the hospital, the helicopter stunt. But it's like he's been released, and Finn, his character, saying, "Yeah, Benny was released for good behavior," and talking to him through a TV, through a little phone screen or something, saying, "Yeah, he put together some fitness program for the inmates or some junk, and so he's free too. So we're all back together, and it's good because we got to be in place at such and such a place at such and such a time for a race." And Toby's got this look like here we go again. He gets in the car. Well, he's going to get in the car with Julie. He's like, "No, I've seen your driving," because she had driven part of the way and had actually been behind the wheel when one of the crazies came along to kill him. And so he says, "I'm driving," and they drive off together, and that's how the movie ends. And much better scene than me talking about it, but this has been my review. I enjoyed this movie, kind of a guilty pleasure, because I know it's about street racing and stuff, and it's very glorified in this movie, obviously, very uniquely told little thing. But I like Toby's character in this, and I liked Aaron Paul's portrayal of Toby Marshall, and how you've seen movies where that character in this kind of a story is more arrogant, more pompous and cocky. Toby in this film, Aaron Paul's Toby Marshall, is much more of a, he's very serious, like more down to earth. This is what he does and stuff. And granted, it's all about this history of him and Dino now and the death of Pete. But even before that, it's like he's not a cocky guy. He's just a good driver. He's a good racer and stuff. But I don't know. I like the way they did his character, his neat little team and stuff. And let me end by talking about Michael Keaton's Monarch. Maybe one of the most memorable things about the movie. He had this character of he's always by himself whenever you see him in this movie, Monarch. He's got his CB radio set up or whatever, his monitor. He's talking about racing. He's talking about cars. He's talking about the history of it. He's taking calls from people who know the number and talking about how, "I got a feeling Toby Marshall," this very beginning of the movie,
that if he does such and such and he gets such and such a car, we might have on our hands the next whatever. Some guy calls in, it's like, you cannot be considering this little such and such Toby Marshall. We're talking about the De Leon. We're talking about the serious business, not this backwoods small fry, whatever. I don't know how he said it, but Michael Keaton was trying to cut him off. Monarch was trying to cut him off, like, I don't know if the guy's name was Eddie or what, like, Eddie, shut up! He ends up saying, shut up, it's my show. And so he had kind of like a character that I don't think he meant to have in RoboCop, with his just the way he is. It's always memorable with Michael Keaton. Anyway, this has been my review, trying to keep it short. If you're into racing movies, if you're into car movies, that kind of stuff, action, and pretty good comedy along the way, and just a few thrills, I guess this would be your movie. I watched it because I wanted to see what this story was about. The trailer said he was set up, he was this, he was that. I'm like, maybe I'll give it a watch, and I'm glad I did. I enjoyed it. So yeah, this has been my review of Need for Speed, and thank you for watching, if you've watched to the end with me here, and we'll see you in the next movie review. Take care.